Welcome to the Cicero Regular Town Board Meeting, Wednesday, November 13th, 2024 at 6:30 PM. Please note there are two exits in the rear of the room and one to my right. If you would, please silence your cell phones and stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing and remember those who are serving in harm's way. Thank you. Public input prior to the agenda tonight. Would anyone like to come up and speak? Just push the button.
That work?
Yep, you can pull it
Okay.
down towards you if you want.
Mike Boyle, 5984 Hebrides Trail. I just had a question on number 11 on the agenda tonight. And I just was curious, we're making changes to the rules and regulation proposed for the Board of Ethics. Is that because of its effect on potentially 22.3 in the conflict of interest section of the Code of Ethics? And is that why you're making the change, or is it somebody submitted something that
Well,
wasn't submitted
We'll,
correctly?
we'll let the chairman of the Ethics Committee speak on that tonight.
Okay, who's that?
It would be Karen Purdy back there.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, thank you, Mike. Anyone else?
Yeah, hi, Jay Reardon. I just got a couple, just a very quick comment on item number 11. I just wanted to provide some context regarding this. I think the reason why a lot of people are concerned, or maybe some people like me are concerned, is because they see the word sealed in this. And the word sealed, I'm sure you guys all understand the basics of legal process in a common law jurisdiction like this. If this were a court and you guys were judges and you said that something has to be sealed, well, then the only logical thing is to walk away afterwards and respect that. You in a court, once you hear the word sealed, you sort of kind of got to shut up about anything that you might be talking about. It's just how it goes. You never disobey a judge's decision. And I realize that this is a legislative body, but you're sitting in an actual courtroom and you're up on a podium where the judge sits. So there are some parallels to be made. You have a really nice thing going on here with this community. You have more interest in this community than you've ever had before. And it would be a shame if some change to this ethic rules, if these ethic rules were to affect people's understanding that they can speak here freely about items of town concern. Items of town concern are important. I mean, to be quite honest, another thing a judge might say from a podium like you're sitting on there right now, if he had parties who disagreed about something, is the judge might say in a court, and again, this is not a court, but the judge might say, you parties who disagree but are so close, go and sort it out. Go into executive session or go into a private room or go into whatever room is next door and sort it out. Come out with a consent decree and move forward. And I don't know. I'd hate for you to deter further public involvement because you're so great with that. You have the items for public involvement and public input expressly listed on your agenda, which other towns don't have, and you're very inviting towards that. And that's spectacular. But maybe in looking at this, and I'm basing this comment on no information because no further information rather, other than what's in the agenda. Maybe the explanation from the Board of Ethics chairperson will determine that this is no concern for First Amendment issues. But on the other hand, it might be. And if there's any question whether it is or not, I would very much encourage you to postpone voting on item 11 and making it into a public hearing instead. Otherwise, please do think of what a judge might do to sort out some of the issues that are going on here. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. Before we go any further, number 16.
Yeah, number 16 will be taken off the agenda. There hasn't been a site survey submitted for this, so it'll be tabled until that's submitted by the property owner. Number 16 will be removed. A survey for the property hasn't been submitted yet, so we'll bring it back once that's been.
Okay, well, at this time, we'll have Chief Bertudo do the Citizens Police Academy graduation presentation. Chief.
So for those who don't know, we started Citizens Police Academy in 2014. And since then, we're on our 8th class and we've had over 100 community members participate. Classes are once a week, 3 hours a night, once a week for anywhere from 8 to 14 weeks. And community members come out, volunteer, learn more about the department, department operations, have classes to better understand what we do all day, where your tax dollars go, understand the struggles that we have within the department, with the criminal justice system. We talk about vehicle and traffic laws, domestic violence, use of force was a great day. We're hands-on portion with our simulator. We had many outside speakers like the medical examiner's office, 911. We did a field trip there. Every year we meet really great community members and really appreciate the involvement in getting that one-on-one contact with everybody. Tonight, we're here to honor the people that successfully completed that. We're going to start calling people's name up. So when your name comes up or gets called, just come up and come up here. Yeah, and just stay up here because we'll do a group photo. First one, Olivia Hale. Adriana Mayer. Yeah, right at the end. Yep. John Pizzuto. Maria Johnson. Lauren Krupka. Lance Rudy. Out here, okay. Sharon Ward. And Ron Zaccaro. Everybody move in. Huh? You can right now. Here you go, here you go.
No, 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 no.
What, are you nervous? Oh, you're nervous? This is only a good one?
Yes.
Then you can do it at dinner. Perfect.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do it at dinner. That way. Guys. Jim and Mike, nice and close together. Okay.
Do whatever you want. that done?
We're gonna skip 4 and congratulations, everyone. Thank you for your participation. We're gonna skip number 4 and 5 and we're gonna move 8 up. I'm sorry, we'll go to 4. Go ahead, Counselor Hogan.
Move for the adoption of a resolution to approve abstract number 44 dated 10/30/2024, abstract number 45 dated 11/6/2024, and abstract number 46 dated 11/13/2024.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Vote no or abstain. Passed.
Move for the adoption of a resolution of approve the budget modifications transfers as presented.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Vote no or abstain. Passed. So we're gonna move number 8 after number 5. Go ahead, Chief. We'll read this quick. You want to have her come up?
Chief, just use the.
Okay, move for the adoption resolution to approve the hiring of Victoria L. Campoli as a full-time Cicero police officer at a starting pay of $83,969 per year, effective November 4th, 2024, budget code 002-3120-0100-0000.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Vote no or abstain. Passed.
So, you all ready? All right, so a little background on Victoria. She's coming to the Cicero Police Department from SUNY Upstate, where she served since 2016. She comes with a wealth of experience and especially in the area of training, so we're lucky to get her. Raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Victoria Campoli,
You solemnly swear.
solemnly swear
You will support the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York. All the laws of New York State and the town of Cicero. And the rules and regulations of the Cicero Police Department. I will faithfully discharge the duties of police officer for the town of Cicero Police Department according to the best of my ability and with the highest level of integrity.
We'll do that. We'll do it after. You wanna do it now? We'll do it now. We'll do it now.
Gonna have to stipple.
Okay, we'll move on to number 6. The public hearing for the fire contracts. At this time, I'd wish to waive the reading of the illegal notices that were posted and advertised.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
This time I'll open up the public hearing at 6:44. 6:44 PM. Anyone like to come up and speak on behalf or against the proposed fire budgets? If not, we'll close the public hearing at 6:45. Okay. Move for the adoption resolution to approve the 2025 fire protection contracts and have the supervisor and the town board execute any and all contracts and documents the fire protection contracts and the amounts to be considered as follows. Riverton, 414,237,000. Service awards are 100,935. Total of 512,172. Cicero is 497,947,000. $130,000 is service awards, a total of 627,947. South Bay is $366,840,000. 66,000 for service award and 432,840 as the total. Bridgeport is 156,800. They have no service award, and the total is 156,800. Village of North Syracuse is $292,159, and their service award is 60,547 for a total of 706,000.
Second.
We're gonna have a roll call on this. Any discussion? No? Go ahead, Counselor, or, Tracy?
Counselor Hogan,
Yes.
Counselor Maurizio,
Yes.
Counselor Carp,
Yes.
Counselor Bacallo,
I will abstain as I am a volunteer firefighter.
and Supervisor Aragano.
Aye. Okay, we'll move on to the, town public hearing for the 2025 preliminary budget. This time again, I wish to waive the reading, the posted legal notices as advertised.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
The purpose of the public hearing is to speak the public input on the preliminary budget prior to approval of the final budget. And in such hearing, any persons may be heard in favor or against the preliminary budget as compiled for or against item or any items herein. And at this time, if Bernard would like to give a brief overview of our 25 proposed budget.
So very briefly, it's about a $62,300 change from the tentative budget from back in September. We pretty much just added that to the allocated fund balance for this year, the appropriated fund balance for this year. 0% increase overall. It's going to fluctuate a little bit between the different funds. The outside of the village fund went up a little bit. That's just, there wasn't that much fund balance in there, and that's where a lot of the expenses for the police department are, zoning, the retirement benefits for all of the funds were up quite a bit this year. That's pretty much what I have.
Thanks. So the budget process is, we had $5.5 million in fund balance, which is 45% of our budget. 45% of our budget, and we had a band fall off, so to the public here today, with a 0% tax increase in the town of Cicero, you know, that may not always happen. So I just want the residents to know that. But
I expect we'll probably be close to the 2% for next year.
Sure,
but That's just a very, very early projection.
okay. Let's open. Anybody else?
Yes, I do have some amendments to offer. I have some concerns about the budget as presented. I recognize that we are looking at a 0% tax increase. However, if things up here had gone a little bit differently and Supervisor Aragano had gotten what he wanted with regard to the purchase of the Echo Park building for a new town hall, we wouldn't be looking at a 0% increase. So I have concerns about the amount of fund balance that's being allocated. Mr. Aragano has never been supervisor without ARPA to fall back on for major purchases and for unanticipated expenses. I've been up here for that. Councilor Bacallo's been up here for that. Councilor Maurizio hasn't, but he has been on the school board in a similar situation. I'm concerned about the amount of fund balance that's being allocated here because we'll not have ARPA to fall back on. We've got our budget in a good place. We've been under the tax cap for the last 3 years. I anticipate we're going to be under the tax cap again this year. Well, I know we're going to be.
But that has happened through judicious use of the ARPA funds, which again are no longer going to be available. That means that we are going to have a healthier fund balance in the future. We have a large number of police retirements coming up, which is going to result in large payouts for accumulated sick and other leave. We have equipment that sometimes breaks unexpectedly. We have equipment that has to be replaced periodically. So I do have a few amendments to offer to the budget, which, and I have discussed this with other town board members, and they all share the same concerns. The first amendment to line number 002-3120-0225-0000, $60,000 for a traffic vehicle purchase for the police department.
Second.
Discussion.
Is this just a regular patrol car?
No, it's a traffic vehicle. It'll be a ghost lettered vehicle.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody wish to vote no or abstain? I'm going to abstain.
Next one, after discussion with Mr. Woznicka regarding the sewer jet and the current condition of the sewer jet for the highway department, his concerns about us having 2 or 3 years left for that and it being about a $500,000 expenditure. I'm proposing an amendment to line number 003-5142-0226-0000, reserved for equipment, to put $100,000 in there towards the purchase of a new sewer jet to replace our existing one, which is, he tells me, on its last legs.
And you're going to put this in a capital reserve?
It says reserve for equipment. That's the title of the line. I believe that's the correct one.
Second.
Discussion.
This is needed, right, Chris?
Just that piece of equipment is like 350, right? 350?
Just a shy of 500,000.
Is it? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Yep. I'm going to vote. I'm going to abstain on this.
All right. After speaking to Ms. Roth with the Parks Department, the dump truck apparently, which was already in need, she said is in worse shape with terms of rust. And part of the reason of buying this now is because I think everybody's aware that costs continue to go up. For example, police vehicles cost 18% more every year. So the sooner we buy these replacements, the better, especially if we have vehicles that are on their last legs. So line number 050-711-0220-0000, parks, equipment, and vehicles, $70,000 for the dump truck.
Second.
Is this the one that you've talked to us about in the past that rattles when it goes?
No, that was the budget. This is the one that is a year older than that one and much worse than the last.
Discussion? Any second? Who gave second?
I second
Second
it.
it.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Just vote no, abstain. I'm going to abstain.
One more addition, backyard drainage. It's just SD as a district. I don't believe there's a budget line for it. Is that correct, Mr. Douglas?
There is one in there, but it's pretty much, I think, 3 different budget lines.
I didn't see it, okay.
I can go back and fix it later.
Okay, I'd like to I propose increasing the drainage budget by 10%. That's a $50,000 add.
Second.
Discussion.
Yeah, we've made a lot of progress in drainage and we get more and more requests to get that done. I go door to door on a very regular basis. There are a couple things the town of Cicero residents extremely care about. It's policing, it's fire, it's their roads, and it's their drainage. So I fully support this.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Vote no or abstain. I'm going to abstain.
All right, and then I have 3, I believe the fund balance allocations have to be addressed separately. I move to reduce the general fund allocation or appropriation by $100,000.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Removing 100K from the fund balance?
I'm reducing the appropriation by 100,000.
Aye.
Did we?
Yeah, we all voted.
All right, cool. All right. With regard to and I recognize Mr. Douglas's comment about the town outside the village fund, that is where the police is, and that is one of the concern to me with the upcoming retirements. I move to reduce the allocation of fund balance from the town outside the village fund by $150,000.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
I'm gonna abstain.
And finally, the highway fund, I move to reduce the highway fund allocation by 70,000.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm gonna abstain.
I have no further motions.
What's that bring us to? Your numbers?
$13,085 under the tax cap
So how much is that?
in terms
Percentage.
of percentage.
Yeah.
A little over 3.
Over 3%?
Yes.
Okay.
We do not do this now, we'll have higher tax increases in the future.
Okay, anyone come up and speak, open up this, let me see, open up the public hearing at 56?
55.
55. Anybody like to come up? I'm gonna speak on behalf of the budget or against it?
It's on, Judy.
I know, but there's no place to
Oh.
put your start.
Nice.
Judy Boyke, Muskrat Bay. Question, I sat in on both of the budget workshops, and why, did this all come up after all these changes in the budget from the workshop time?
Yes.
Okay, the fund balance is obviously over 5 million. What is, I know, obviously from sitting in the position, that you're not allowed or supposed to have such a large fund balance. Do you know what that is?
The New York State Office of the State Comptroller does not define a specific amount. They just say a reasonable amount, which has been taken to mean a whole lot of different things. GFOA says at least 2 months worth of expenditures. 15% is a number that gets thrown around a lot. But the OSC hasn't really set an actual number. They just say a reasonable number, and that's kind of where it's at.
So the answer is no. Because it was, if I recall, there was a discussion about not having a huge fund balance. But then again, if we have nothing to lay it to, I guess it doesn't matter. I didn't get a chance to ask on the abstract. There was like $47,000 from Parks and Rec that was transferred, which appeared to be a $47,000 from last year's budget, because budget mods obviously are balances. If we had that much money, I would think that that should be applied towards a new vehicle. It's, I have the summer help, summer wages, summer overtime, summer overtime. That comes up to $47,631.
That was from the highway department. They had some leftover money from this from the summer that they were applying to.
All right, so then they've got $47,000 and they had extra in their budget. Is that correct? Am I reading? this correct?
Extra in those lines that was covering deficiencies in other lines.
All right, I guess, that answers my questions for now.
Thank you. Anyone else come up, speak for or against? With that being said, we'll close the public hearing. Want to give me a time? Counselor Bacallo,
6:59.
6:59 PM. Okay, move for the adoption resolution to approve the 2025 final budget, including special districts as amended.
Second.
Nope, we gotta have a roll call. Go ahead, Trace.
Counselor Hogan.
Yes.
Counselor Maurizio.
Yes.
Counselor Carr.
Yes.
Counselor Bacallo.
Yes.
Supervisor Aragano.
Okay, we're on number 8 still, or we're gonna go back to number believe it's 8 for the police department. Bids for a new pole barn building. Move for the adoption resolution to approve the solicitation of bids for a new metal pole barn per specifications for the police department facility located at 6200 State Route 31, Cicero, New York, 13039. The sealed bids must be received at the Cicero Town Clerk's Office, 8236 Burton Road, Cicero, New York, 13039, by Wednesday, November 27th, 2024, at 2:00 PM, to be open publicly.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Vote no or abstain, passed.
Move adoption resolution to hire Peter Batista as a court constable at a pay rate of $35 per hour to start on or about November 14th, 2024. Budget code, court security, 001-1110-0105-0000.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Wish to vote no or abstain, passed.
Move for the adoption of a resolution to approve the expenditure of approximately $5,000 out of ARPA funds to purchase 20 12x15 evergreen pole wraps with LED mini lights to be placed on the new street poles along Main Street in Brewerton.
Second. Okay, discussion.
I was going to ask her, yeah.
What?
I was going to ask Ms. Roth to expound on this.
I can. Is Jason here?
Yep, Jason, you want to come up?
How you doing, guys? My name's Jason Bronner. I own Rosie's Corner in Brewerton. I've kind of spearheaded this thing a little bit. And, of course, whenever I come to these meetings, it's always the biggest one of the year, but, we're trying to raise some funds to get the light poles decorated that just been put in this year. We're kind of in a little time crunch as the holidays are obviously approaching. We have a company willing to give us, or sell us 20 lights with garland to wrap around each pole. We do have a handful of businesses that are willing to donate. So hopefully we can do some more decorations. But I called into the town to see if we can get some funding to just keep adding to the beautification of Brewerton. I've been a Brewerton resident my whole life, and for the first time in probably, the last 25, 30 years, it seems like Cicero's here for Brewerton. And I just want to keep it going, kind of show the citizens and the business owners of Brewerton that Cicero's here to help and keep it going with all these projects. And I just think, helping beautify it for the holidays would really lift everybody's spirits. We've reached out to a number of companies. The company I gave a bid to Teresa, she has, it's not the lowest bid, but it's the best quality and also the quickest time frame. So I'm just hoping that you guys can help us out up there and, continue to build up Brewerton and make it better.
Thank you, Jay.
You're welcome.
The company that we're hoping to purchase from is Downtown Decorations Local, which is really good. I've dealt with them for years. And his goal, he also went to the chamber, and they're hopefully going to piggyback on it. So what we were trying to do is partner so that the town would purchase the garland that would wrap the poles. He's got some donations already for purchasing velvet bows for the top. And then their goal for future years is to add on like hanging icicles or wreaths or whatever from donations from business. So our portion would be the garland, and then from here forward, hopefully it would be the chamber taking it over and getting the business owners to contribute toward it.
What about the storage and the putting up and putting down?
So the Parks Department guys, I would have them hang it, and we would store. So I don't want to necessarily commit to all of the other decorations that they're thinking down the road, but the garland, we discussed about getting like the apple bins, apple orchards have the big bins, getting one of those and putting the garland in there and covering it. And we have the storage bay at the Parks Maintenance Building.
How many hours do you estimate that this would take to put up and take down of Parks and Rec hours?
Just a couple hours, I would think. They're pre-made for poles, so they're designed, they're already pre-cut and they have the hang thing. So it's really just using a ladder or a lift truck to hang it. So I would think, maybe 5 minutes per pole, something in that ballpark.
Thanks, Teresa. Anyone else? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Vote no or abstain, passed.
Do you want to read this first or have?
The chairman here, you want to come up and speak on behalf of this? Before we, read this? Thank you.
Karen Purdy, Chair of the Town of Cicero Board of Ethics. Last year at our annual meeting, we started to review the rules and regulations for the Ethics Board, and we noted that the one in question, all it states is requests for advisory opinions must be made in writing to the Board of Ethics and submitted to the chair. It does not give any direction as to how it's submitted, who it's submitted to, or what is done with it afterwards. So we just simply wanted to simplify the process for all the people in the town of Cicero, and just to simply have it in a sealed envelope addressed to the chair of the Town of Board of Ethics, delivered by mail or in person to the town clerk. The town clerk will then receive it, date and time stamp it, and then deliver it to the chair. The reason why we are asking it to be sealed is because all ethics complaints are done under executive session. So if it comes in unsealed, many eyes can see it, and that's not the purpose. We want to maintain the privacy of the people who are submitting the complaint so that it can be ruled in a fair way, so nobody else is seeing it to make judgment on it. That they give it, the complaint to me, I then call the lawyer for the ethics committee. We discuss it, and then we call a meeting, which is an executive session of the ethics committee. Once the investigation is done, a letter is submitted from our lawyer to the town clerk, stamped and put into the clerk's office.
Thanks. Thank you.
I have a question. So the proposed language says advisory opinions, but when you were just speaking, you were using the term complaint. In your view, are they the same? Is there a distinction? And if there is a distinction, what is the distinction?
It's advisory opinion. So it's just somebody submitting whatever to the town of ethics, to the ethics board of the town of Cicero, to say, I question whatever. Whether it be a complaint or an opinion or a question or whatever it may be, it could be anything. If it comes to the town ethics.
Have we had issues in the past with things not being confidential that are submitted for you?
Yes, there have been issues far in the past that were, there have been complaints that it's been questioned. Who do we submit it to? How do we submit it to? It really doesn't make sense. All it just says is make it in writing to the Board of Ethics and submit it to the chair. I don't have the ability to date and timestamp stuff. I'm not a notary, so that's why the town clerk needs to receive this first, so that it is date and time stamped, so that it is official.
So if they're submitted under executive session, they should not be subject to FOIL then, correct? Or should they be?
So as our lawyer explained to us, so you can FOIL them, but it is up to the town attorney to determine what can be FOILed from that.
Okay.
Because it is a personnel matter, which those are confidential.
Right.
So it really goes back to the town attorney to say what
Okay.
can be FOILed.
Question on that?
Yeah.
But public officials that are elected, you can stand right here and make.
Correct, you could. But if somebody if somebody wants to make a complaint and doesn't want it public, we offer them the opportunity to not make it public. But either way, when the ethics board does meet, it is under executive session. So even if you make a complaint right now to one of the town board members, the ethics committee would still have to take it into executive session. We can't publicly hear a complaint. Because it's a personnel matter.
All set?
Well, they do. The town board gets the result. They get the letter. They get the letter is submitted right to the clerk's office and the town board gets the letter. So the town board gets it and they can dismiss it, or they can look at it, or they can do whatever they want with it. We don't rule. We just advise. So we give our advisory opinion to the town board. They make a determination of what they want to do with that complaint. If we find it plausible, if we have a lawyer that sits on our board who is an ethics lawyer, who advises us as to like how we word things, how we investigate things, what we can look at and what we can't look at.
Tracy gets it, stamps it, goes to your office. You're not around for 6 months.
Nope, that's not true. Tracy will call me right away. She will call me right away. What do you mean?
redacted prior to going to the board?
Excuse me, what?
Get redacted before it goes to the board? I.e. names?
No.
Just
So the complaint goes to the clerk as is, and the town lawyer will determine what can be made public. But the town board gets it exactly how it's written with names and everything.
Is
So-
there any sort of time frame on these as far as?
It depends on how long, it depends on how long it takes to investigate it.
Get control of the meeting.
No, because they're.
Get control.
Okay,
This isn't a-
okay.
this isn't-
This isn't a, for, go ahead.
No, I mean, I'll answer whatever.
We
We just had a public meeting and it was posted. We will be having another one after the first of the year, so just watch to see when it's posted and we'll welcome anybody's opinion to come and see. We also are short a member, so if the board finds anybody they would like to sit on the ethics board, we'll be happy to take them.
Perfect. Thank you.
We do, I want to add one more
Oh,
thing
go
from the
ahead.
ethics. At our last meeting, we noted that Ken Peters will be, his term will be up in December.
Mhm.
He did request that he would be willing to stay on. They did say that they are fine with me being the chair.
Mhm.
Was kind of voluntold.
Okay,
And our lawyer, Jamie Supfin, agreed to stay on.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Robert, you find these changes to be reasonable?
I do. Yeah, and you gotta remember what the function of this board generally is to give advisory opinions in situations where someone can go to them as a resource if they have a potential conflict or issue that they want an answer on. That's one of their functions, also to review your financial disclosure and so on. There's a lot of different aspects to this particular board. But they do have the right also to create their own rules and regulations, which I believe they're doing.
But if they create their own rules and regulations, why are we being asked to vote on it?
We have to approve the.
Do we have to approve them?
I think if it's part of the code and so on, I think it's a good idea to approve them. But they do have the right to create their own rules and regulations.
Thanks.
Okay, move for the adoption of a resolution to approve the language change in the Town of Cicero Board of Ethics Internal Rules and Regulations, number 5, letter A and B. Proposed language change as follows. Requests for advisory opinions must be submitted in a sealed envelope addressed to the Chair of the Board of Ethics and delivered by regular mail or in person to the Town Clerk's office. And B, upon receipt of the request for an advisory opinion, the Town Clerk or Deputy shall date and timestamp the request and deliver to the Chair.
Second? Discussion?
Taking the questions that we've had this evening, I don't think it's out of question. Sorry, I'm repeating myself. Can we just hold off till the next meeting?
I have my only concern is this, if they're, and I don't want to, if they have the right to create their own rules and regulations, because I don't recall my 9 years in the board ever having to vote on something like this. Maybe there's a good reason for that. I don't want to start voting on their rules if they are the ones that are supposed to be setting them. And if it's a matter of town code, then we would have to have a public hearing. So I just would like some clarification on whether or not this is something we have to do, because if it's not, I don't think we should start the habit of voting on their rules if that's not necessary.
Robert, is this normal for us to vote on rules and regulations for that?
I do know that they have the right to create their own rules and regulations.
And so the town board, do we as a body vote on this stuff to okay their ethics? Because isn't the town board, didn't we create this, the town of Cicero, the ethics committee?
Guys, whether or not there's an ethics committee, town and village should have one.
I just don't think we should be regulating in areas if we don't have to, or if we're not required to. I don't think it's our,
So if we're not required to do this, go ahead.
Ethics rules, and the first part says that they do have the right to create their own rules and regulations, right? But later in the document, it says that the town board would approve amendments to the rules and regulations. So why not approve, whatever. The town board should probably consider the request of the board to approve their amendments.
Okay. Let's vote.
I think we should probably have a public hearing to amend those rules so that we don't have to approve those. That's just my take on it.
We're gonna vote on this.
I don't have a problem.
All right.
All in favor?
I
Aye.
Aye. Anybody wish to vote no?
No.
I abstain.
Okay, passed. Okay. Counselor Hogan,
Move for the adoption of a resolution to approve accepting a donated kiosk informational board as part of an Eagle Scout project at William Park. Installation of kiosk informational board to take place this fall. Approximate value of kiosk is $900.
second.
discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Vote no or abstain, passed.
Move for the adoption of a resolution to approve the expenditure of $14,431.26 out of the ARPA funds to purchase new LED replacement light fixtures for the football field at Central Park. National Grid is offering an incentive of approximately $12,000 for this project, and the Cicero Falcons football organization will cover the installation costs for the lights.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Vote no or abstain, passed.
Move for the adoption of a resolution approving 84 aluminum sign blanks and 50 10-foot unistruts and 50 3-foot bases from Crossroads Highway in the amount of $5,492.48. Budget code 003-3310-4000-0000.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Vote no or abstain, passed.
Move for the adoption of a resolution to authorize the supervisor to execute the cooperative agreement between the County of Onondaga and the Town of Cicero per section 135-A of the New York State Highway Law for the control of snow and ice conditions per said agreement that is attached. The term of the contract shall be from 10/1/24 through 5/31/27.
Second.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Vote no or abstain, passed.
Move to adopt a resolution to approve the deputy comptroller position and to hire Heather McCoy to start provisionally on or about November 14th, 2024 at pay of $33 an hour under budget code comptroller/administrative 001-1315-0100-0000.
Second.
Discussion. It's a new position. I'm sorry. Diane will be leaving us here at the end of the year after 25 plus years. I want to say thank you to her. And she's going to work with our new deputy comptroller to have a nice transition. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Wish to vote no or abstain, passed.
Set bid for town hall custodial services. Move the adoption resolution to accept the bids for custodial services at Cicero Town Hall, 8236 Brewerton Road, Cicero, New York, 13039 on Monday, November 25th, 2024 at 11 a.m.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Vote no or abstain, passed.
Oh, that's right. We're skipping 16. I apologize. Move the adoption resolution approving the release of securities from the developer for Lions Run Sections 2A and 2B in accordance with the November 6, 2024 letter prepared by the town engineer.
Second.
Discussion.
Any comments on this, Ms. Fiorello?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Vote no or abstain, passed.
Move the adoption resolution accepting 500 linear feet of Kettleman's Crossing Road, 1,200 linear feet of Josette Junction Road, and 700 linear feet of Angus Path into the New York State Department of Transportation local highway inventory. The 2-year guarantee period is complete and the highway department is satisfied upon inspection.
Second.
Discussion.
Mr. Wozniak, any comments on that?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Or nor abstain, passed. Discussion, town board, what do you got?
Just that our comprehensive plan meeting is tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock at the lineman's facility right down the road from the Cicero Fire Department. And if anyone is able to go, I highly encourage it. There'll be a presentation and then a public hearing afterwards.
Anybody else?
I feel the need to address some comments that were made at the last meeting. Everyone here is aware of the ongoing issue with some allegations that have been made about the supervisor. The last meeting, the supervisor made an allegation that the complaint was fabricated and contrived by the town board. The base or the essence of what he is saying is that we contrived a criminal conspiracy against him. And when the press release that he sent to Channel 9 News was sent, the title says false allegations made by the town councilors. But we didn't make the allegations. The allegations were made by a former employee. And what we have now is a series of deflections. So first, we were told that we made this up to bully him into voting with us. But there's nothing coming up that we've discussed that there's any disagreement on. And so he figured out that didn't make sense. So then when he talked to Syracuse.com, he said that we were taking revenge on him for not voting with us. But all he came up with was something that happened 2 years ago and something that happened a year and a half ago. And we've worked fine together up until the end of September since then. And then that didn't make sense. And now talking to Channel 9 this morning, or when he spoke to them, he said that this is a smear campaign to distract the town from the important issues the town faces. What those issues are wasn't mentioned. I'm not aware of anything coming up that any of us are not prepared to handle head on. I think we've handled everything head on. I think despite everything, things are going well in the town. And there's a reason why these explanations keep shifting. They can't all be true. And they keep shifting because none of them are true. And I think what everybody should ask themselves is, why does that keep happening?
That it?
So I'd like to just reiterate that we will be planning on addressing these allegations at each meeting going forward. And that is with the intention to be transparent with our town, which is of utmost importance to everyone on the board. And so we do plan on addressing and giving updates, even if there's nothing new. The investigation is ongoing, and I continue to urge a new sense of urgency to completing that. And I just wanted to let the town know that it is important to us that we are transparent with you, which is the reason why we will be addressing this every meeting going forward.
Thank you.
I wasn't prepared to speak. Since other people have, I will. I don't have anything prepared, so bear with me. Sadly, this is not the first time this has happened in the town of Cicero. This is something that's happened before. There's a couple board members who have been through a couple of these before. The town of Cicero deserves better, right? Allegations come in against the supervisor, and the supervisor, instead of addressing those allegations, decides to go after the town board members. It's the town board members. That's an old playbook. That playbook's been played before. We know that. Email today came in from a supporter of the supervisor asking myself, and I know Councilor Carp, to read said email. I will not be reading that email this evening. You can come up, obviously, and read the email if you like. I will not be going against any of the board members. I refuse to do so. We are all individually elected. None of us are the boss of any of us. We have different opinions. I know there's individuals here who have been on boards before. We disagree. That's what boards do. That's healthy. If we all agreed, that'd be pretty bad for everybody in this room. Very bad. I do know supporters of the supervisor will be coming up here tonight and making comments, which, it's public input. They have the right to do so. They will probably be saying negative things about the town board. Great, go ahead. It's, like I said, tired playbook. It's been done before. We do have an investigation going on. let the investigation do what the investigation is going to do, right? Cicero deserves better, and the meetings are going to continue to be like this. It's the town of Cicero residents deserve better. That's the theme that I have this evening. It's a sad state that we're in. I wish we could find our way out of it fast. I don't think we're going to. But the town of Cicero deserves better. As you saw this evening, the supervisor has lost what credibility the supervisor has left. It's tough to deal with. Hopefully we can get through this, and that's all I have to say.
Anybody else? No? I'd like to make a statement. So the allegations against me are untrue. I firmly deny any wrongdoing. Once again, this setting is not appropriate forum for this discussion. And it only serves to make our town appear disorganized. Several weeks ago, the board, including myself, voted to engage in an independent firm to investigate the allegations made by Ms. Van Epps. To give an update on the situation, as of now, no investigation has commenced. Our town council has informed us that the firm reached out to Mr. George twice, but he's yet to receive a response. Meanwhile, over the past 3 weeks, Ms. Van Epps has taken her story to the media, but not participated in the investigative process. At this point, I'm requesting that Mr. Germain contact the firm we hired and initiate the investigation promptly with myself and all town employees. A complaint was made and it must be investigated, regardless of the complainant's level of cooperation. This matter needs to be resolved so we can focus on the work that serves our town residents. That's my statement, okay? We need to do the business for the town of Cicero. I'm not up here trying to be arrogant, but if we ask for an investigation, I would expect to have an investigation in here, in the town hall, with the employees, with myself, so they can find out the real truth.
But just to be clear, you already decided that you were going to continue coming into the office every day, which is going to,
Do what? Do what?
you don't think that that affects the integrity of the investigation when
Absolutely
you're
not.
here
Absolutely.
with the
I'm-
employees
You know what,
every
Ms.
day?
Hogan, I'm not going to get into this. and I'm
Mr.
not-
Germain, can you confirm that the investigation has in fact started? Okay.
Okay. For the record, I have spoken to the investigator. The investigator has spoken to several town employees. The investigator is speaking to people who are former town employees. Not a lawyer. So what if it was?
I want you to know something, that this is costing the taxpayers money. Thank you, Michael.
Making their statements, we don't even have all the facts. Right. Asking them to resign for what? Because if somebody made an allegation, I can make an allegation against Mr. Maurizio for sitting on the town board, sitting on the school board, voting on over there to spend money here and us receiving it. That's a conflict of interest. Yes. Okay? And you work for BOSI. There's an allegation. That's the fact. There you go.
Okay, we'll open up to public input. Anyone like to come up and speak? Come on up.
Jamie Pardee, I live in Brewerton, New York. That was my email that you refused to read. Then Counselor Bacallo, you went back and forth on your statement. You made the statement that this shouldn't be here. I believe yourself, Counselor Carp, and Counselor Hogan brought this to the board and created this. It was an investigation that should have remained away from this board. You three chose to bring this to the board, to this board meeting, and address it to the public. And then you can stand up here and say that it shouldn't be here and it's not what this is all about. Yet the three of you brought this to the board. And then we can go into the allegations of my email pertaining to Ms. Hogan, on the night of, it was October 9th, when she made the statement against Supervisor Aragano. And I am not here to support Supervisor Aragano. I am here to support a process that every American citizen and everybody has the right to, and that is to be proven innocent or innocent till proven guilty. The three of you automatically assumed based on an allegation that he is guilty. Is he guilty or is he not? It's not your job to determine that. That's what the process is all about, which you refused to follow. Then when you went into a executive session, everybody in this room that was here that night could hear Counselor Hogan screaming at an individual trying to leave the room and demanded they get back in here and you cannot leave this room. That is verbal harassment. So in my opinion, a member that's accusing somebody of harassment is just as guilty. So if anybody supports her and her accusations, you should not, because you cannot accuse somebody of something and then go in the room minutes later and do the exact same thing you're accusing an individual for. So therefore, I am asking Counselor Hogan, if you are going to stand behind your accusations, asking Supervisor Aragano to resign or work from home, are you willing to do the same thing based on your actions?
There are people here that are in that room for the executive session that you're speaking of that can attest on my behalf. So I'm not sure why.
I
you
asked a
think that
question.
you-
I didn't ask for an explanation. I asked a question. Please
So-
answer my question. It's a simple yes or no answer.
What I will say, if you could let me speak, what I will say is that all of this, again, is deflection. These are all deflections. So I want to encourage everybody. We all know that Supervisor Aragano has friends and that he's invited them here tonight. But here's the thing. These are all
Friends with Supervisor Aragano.
deflections. These are all deflections. So I would like to get back to the problem at hand and get focused on the situation at hand.
So will you answer my question? Are you refusing to answer my question, Counselor Hogan?
I'm not entertaining any deflections here tonight.
Okay, and that was a very nice article, how you put in the newspaper and spoke to the news channel. And it came out this morning, how you got emotional and raised your voice. Yet everybody out here could hear you in a closed room in there. So there's a difference in raising voices. And then Counselor Carp and Counselor Bacallo, if you support her in asking her, or with her asking Supervisor Aragano to resign, I feel you should reevaluate your leadership here in the town of Cicero as well. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Tony Borio, Island Road. I'd like to say a few words about the accusations against Mr. Aragano. You know, what happened to due process? I'm understanding the due process is going forward. I hope that's true. To ask his resignation before the facts have been investigated and sorted out is not the correct path. My dealings with Mr. Aragano have been positive. Every phone call and email that I've made to him in his office, he's always returned and replied, which is more than I can say about the rest of the Cicero board members. Mr. Aragano, I have had positive discussions, and he has at least given me advice and ideas to the questions I've had. So let's have due process run the course, have all the truth come forward, and remember, someone can point the finger at you about anything before the truth comes out.
Why do you have such a smug look? Truly, I'm honestly asking that. You have a very smug look when people are talking in support of Supervisor Aragano. I don't understand. I saw it from back there and it's disturbing and it makes me ask a lot of questions about you. My name is Donna Schutz and I am the parish administrator at Sacred Heart Church. I'm here today to speak to my interactions with Town Supervisor Michael Aragano
I am not here to speak about the allegations that have been lodged against him in the newspapers or on YouTube. I'm here to say that my interactions with Mr. Aragano have only been positive ones. I have worked with Supervisor Aragano for 3 years at Sacred Heart in both one-on-one situations and committee situations. At all times, he has been professional, respectful, non-confrontational, nor has he ever displayed any degree of anger or rage. Look at me when I'm talking, please. I'd appreciate that respect. I've never encountered any behavior that would suggest that he is one to harass others. Once again, I am offering my personal experience of him and our working relationship together. As far as the allegations, I have nothing to say on that. Again, all I can do is speak to how I have been dealt with and my dealings with Mr. Aragano, and they have been nothing but positive. So I question these allegations that you're making, and I look for a resolution with the investigation, just as everyone else here does. Thank you.
Mike Boyle, 5984. First of all, Mr. Bacall, thank you for voting or not voting on the fire department stuff. That's the correct thing to do. It would have been an ethical thing if you had voted on that. Mr. Aragano, I don't know what you did. I want due process. I just want honest government. That's all I care about. That's when I come in here is honest government. I've noticed the meeting minutes have started to change with the budget codes and a whole bunch of other things. That's an improvement. Okay, you're supposed to work as a group, but to sit back and write the messages you wrote, why didn't you just go to the DA's office? Pick up the phone, call Fitzpatrick's office and say, come in and do an investigation. They have a whole unit there that does this. Why would we pay an outside counsel to do this? That's number one. Why are we paying someone to do an audit for ARPA funds that was voted on the last time, right? To do a fiscal audit of the books? Why would we do that? Why wouldn't you just go to the state controller's office and have them do it for free? That's what they do. But we're outsourcing and spending money on stuff like that. Okay, I'm just looking for honest government. And Mr. Marizio, I mean, technically, it is a conflict of interest that you sit on the school board, you sit on the town board, you work at BOCES. There's money being going back and forth. Okay, especially from the school board, you vote to pay for the police protection program. And then over here, you vote to accept the money. That's a conflict of interest, in my opinion. And if you look at the ethics rules, section 22.3 of the town of Cicero's ethics rules, look at it and read it. So, you know, if you have a problem, he's taking it on the chin, okay, in the media. They're eating him alive. I mean, they're going to go after him and after him. But they don't believe in due process either, okay? Look what happened to Trump. I mean, seriously. Yeah, but before you write something and there's no evidence, they haven't presented anything, no evidence, nothing. We don't even know if there's been any start of any questioning. Have you been questioned? I rest my case.
Good evening. My name is Athena France. I live at 6220 Julia Trail, and I'm here tonight to speak on behalf of the neighbors in our community, like myself, who have interacted with Mr. Aragano on a routine basis in a professional capacity for well over a decade. While I cannot speak to the specific allegations in Ms. Van Epp's affidavit, I can tell you that I have never been treated with anything but the utmost respect by Mr. Aragano. Additionally, I have never been privy to any conversations which would lead me to believe that Mr. Aragano is anything but a trusted civil servant to this community. As a mother to 2 daughters, I wholeheartedly believe that any allegations or misconduct of harassment should be thoroughly investigated, and my heart goes out to Ms. Van Epp's. While I cannot speak to the legitimacy of the allegations, we can all agree personal perspectives can differ and can alter our perceptions of situations. In light of the recent allegations against Cicero Town Supervisor Michael Aragano, it is crucial to approach the situation with a commitment to fairness and due process. Resignation based solely on unproven allegations undermines the principles of justice and the presumption of innocence that are foundational to our democratic society. Supervisor Aragano has served our community with dedication and integrity, and it is vital to remember that that allegations do not equate to guilt. The legal system is designed to thoroughly investigate claims and ensure that all parties are treated justly. Until a formal investigation is completed and a determination is made, it is premature and unjust to call for any resignation. It is my belief that doing so sets a dangerous precedence. We must prioritize the values of transparency and accountability, allowing the appropriate legal process to unfold. This approach not only protects the rights of the accused, but also upholds the integrity of our community's leadership. I implore you to focus on fostering a dialogue that is constructive and rooted in facts rather than speculation. It is in the best interest of Cicero to allow Supervisor Aragano the opportunity to address these allegations in a fair and just manner. Thank you.
My name is Jackie Fitkevich, 8797 Waterview Circle. Oh, am I boring you? I'm sorry. You need to look at us when everybody's talking. I hope you see yourself on this camera later because you're not very nice. 8797 Waterview Circle in Cicero. I have known Michael Aragano for 18 years, 18. I've never seen him ever yell at anybody, as Mrs. X would say, belittle people, be mean to all the teachers at our school, at Cicero here. Not true. I'm sorry, it's not true. Mr. George brought up Sacred Heart Church. That was wrong. He said Sacred Heart Church is protecting Michael. Sacred Heart Church has nothing to do with what's going on here with this board. And I'm going to tell you something else. I know for a fact that this has been going on for a long time. Oh, yes. You have ideas of putting somebody else in place. Well, if that's the case, then let it be. But you know what? I'm going to turn a different leaf. I'm going to pray for each and every one of you for what you are doing to this man. It's wrong. No one was even there to witness this. There's not one witness, but you're all jumping on this board that he's wrong. So I'm going to pray that you guys have a conscience, that somewhere down the road, this does not happen to you. It's wrong in all avenues. It's not right. So I'm going to pray, especially for you, Mr. Carp, that you will listen and do not look at your watch, do not do your phone, do not make faces, because it's frigging rude. Okay? I've said my piece. God bless you.
I was wondering if you could name the investigation that is going on with him, the company that you've hired. Is that for public knowledge as to the?
It was engaged by the town attorney. You'd have to ask him. The resolution was authorizing him to make the hire, so you'd have to ask
Okay,
him who the firm
all right,
is.
so that's where they came from. Okay. Can you tell us that? No? Okay. That's what I wanted to know. Oh, okay. Thank you.
Bob Parker, Town of Cicero, as a retired public official at one time in my life and a former discrimination officer. The due process is number one. The town attorney, if you look at, I'd like to know what law on the books, is it GML or town law that gives you the right to hire an attorney? 27A?
Gives the town board the right to hire an attorney?
Yeah, to tell you to hire an attorney. Thank you. I appreciate it. This time, with that being said, I'll make him, go ahead.
I'm going to change the subject. I have a question about Carmenica Road, first of all. In 2011, when I was supervisor, the state came in and informed us that the traffic was going to be rerouted at that time to go out Carmenica, out onto Lakeshore Road. Well, that was 2011. Obviously, the traffic has since increased. The road is disgusting and it is pitch black. I'll tell you something. I drove through there a couple of times when I was out at work at night. And I was actually fearful because there are cars parked, obviously, because it's a nice little hiding place. But my concern is we need lights and that road, Chris, I don't know if it's on your list.
It's been on my list for years.
Well, let's put it at the top.
So Judy, I'll comment on this. After speaking with Chris regarding the road being such in disrepair, I did reach out to the DOT, state DOT, and explain to them that, you know, you did shut down the left turn signal on Party Road to go eastbound. And we asked them if they would provide the material that our highway department would have it put down. And they said they would not. And I explained to them, if you are going to close a road down and make them go through a town road, they should be able to help with us. I've gotten nowhere with it. So yes, I did address the issue, and yes, we are on that.
Lights too?
No lights.
Ms. Boyke, it's been a while since I've been through there. Is there still a lot of dumping going on?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's disgusting. And it's such a high, traffic. And now we're talking about more because of the possible Route 81 situation. Okay, the next question is, for the meeting tomorrow night, for the comprehensive plan, it was stated that there is a public hearing at 7 o'clock. I cannot find anywhere where a public hearing was posted.
Trace?
It was
Or
in the
public
Post Standard.
Hearing?
Yeah, it was in the
Is it
Post
on- Is
Standard.
it online? I'm just asking, Trace, you have to look for it.
Yes,
Is it online?
it was properly published in the Post Standard
I mean, online. but
and it
not-
was emailed out to everybody. Yep. And I do have a copy of the
Emailed
public
out to
hearing.
who?
We did an email blast to remind everybody about it also. But I did have the public hearing notice sent to everybody too.
Okay, okay.
I'd be happy to give it to you.
No, I'm fine. Okay, last. I want to talk about the Historical Society. I wrote this out because I couldn't remember it all. The schoolhouse was established in 1870. It remained open until 1951, when it was closed for the Cicero Elementary School to be built. Can you imagine for 1 minute a teacher teaching kids of all ages in the same room up to 8th grade? That's pretty impressing, especially when it was our relatives. For folks of us who have relatives in this town back in 1870. Some of the families obviously still remain, and I do have a list that I would like to talk about. Do any of you on the board have relatives or you originated from the town? Have you ever been to the Historical Society's buildings and gone through the schoolhouse for one? You did, Mike? You did. I'll tell you, when you step into that room, it's pretty impressive. Just the atmosphere of it, of what our children, your children, grandchildren, whatever, have today. Yet, people were taught and raised and survived from that era on up. History is something that will always remain here. Cicero has so much history that most residents don't even know it exists. The Native Americans lived in and around Cicero and Brewerton. They created several footpaths, which later became Route 31 and Route 11. The Four Corners in Cicero was then created. This intersection of Route 31 and Route 11 are historic roads, believe it or not, in the United States. It was laid down in 1846 and operated until that's the Plank Road. The Plank Road was laid down in 1846 and it was in existence till 1913. The road remained open and kept open for the barrelhead and stave manufacturing along with the Coopers from Brewerton and Cicero to provide supplies for the Syracuse salt industry. That's pretty impressive. In mid-1850s, the Cicero stage began to operate. Also at the time during the summer, a stage was operated to bring folks from Syracuse, the rich people, to South Bay where they would board a steamship and go to Frenchman's Island where there's a restaurant. The old trolley lines still remain over in the bay, over where Avi's Marina is. This was in operation until 1909. 1912, this trolley line was in Cicero to Brewerton. Then it was in hopes of going to Watertown and taking folks to the Thousand Islands, which it did. Both operated until 1932, carrying mail, high school children, fishermen, and families from Brewerton and Cicero to Syracuse. For those who really don't know the history of our town, you can now know how important it is to keep our history alive. The old schoolhouse was a teaching institute for many families, including the Abbeys, the Dzinskis, those Woznickas, and yes, my husband's family, the Boykes. Also, my father, and his family were settlers here as well. My father's family's name is at the top of the brick building where Mr. Mafrisi's law firm is. It says Sadler. That was my maiden name. My great uncle was an engineer working on the state ditch and helped to drain the wetlands of Cicero. And they were carrying the water to the ditch out into Oneida Lake. With this all said, I'm asking the board to consider helping in any way to keep our history preserved with any monetary funds possible to restore the schoolhouse in the town of Cicero. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy. I think, Robert, we talked about entering into a agreement with the school, with them, Historical Society. We'll address that and we'll talk about that later. Okay, anybody else? No, one last thing I'd like to say tonight. I don't know if anybody caught this, but we asked the town attorney who the firm was that was doing this investigation. Has anybody seen an investigator? I haven't seen one. I don't think any employees have seen one, but somebody miraculously here who's tainting the process says, I happened to speak with the investigation. Why is our town board speaking with the investigators? That should be a great question. This has nothing to do with the town board. The process needs to be had, and everybody needs to have to speak freely. So why is the board involved? And why is it only Mr. Karp who's having these conversations behind the scenes? Thank you. With that being said, I'll make a recommendation. We close the meeting. All in favor? Aye.
So you'll find out in the report.